Hi, I'm Dr. K.Nevelsteen. For a site on the web, the pub sub called Broadcast Channel serves as a good messaging environment for IPSME. To get a website's messaging environment connected to the native operating system's messaging environment, a reflector is used. I previously made an assumption that it would be easy to convince sites to run a reflector for interoperability. This assumption turned out to be wrong. Convincing a site to load even 5 lines of code for a library is an arduous task, especially when they don't know what that library does for like IPSME. So to remedy this problem, I am now focusing on empowering the user and thus therefore the community as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start up my JS Orange test site here. And previously, JS Orange loaded a reflector to push messages to the native operating system, but it doesn't. I removed the reflector from it. So now if I try to warp, then the messages here do not reach the native operating system. So by empowering the user, I as a user can choose to support interoperability by installing the needed reflector as a Firefox extension instead. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now if I try to warp again, this time we see that the warp messages do appear in the native operating system messaging environment. So why is this important? In my previous video, I spoke about a category of metaverse experiences that were neutral to interoperability. They don't make any effort to be interoperable. Let's consider, for example, Twitter X, where Elon Musk does not believe in the metaverse. So I have a link here on my profile, which is a link for a 2-phase warp plus Second Life. Now, Elon's not going to run the 5 lines of code needed for the reflector, and he's also not going to implement interoperable warp links like the one here. So instead, I'm going to use a technique which I use also for interconnecting Minecraft instances. Instead of a virtual overlay over Minecraft, I'm going to put a virtual overlay over Twitter. So the easiest way to do this is via a temper monkey script. So I have a script here that I will enable, and this script, all it does is it searches Twitter for links that start with 2-phase warp plus Second Life, and then changes that link into a clickable link. And then when clicking on it, it pushes a message from the website into the website's broadcast channel pub sub. Now, because I have the Firefox extension installed, that means that those broadcast messages can then be reflected to the native operating system messaging environment. So now, if I click on the link, then I'll be teleported to Second Life. So this means that I can make Twitter X interoperable with the metaverse, even though Elon is neutral to interoperability. What does this mean in general? This means that if a virtual overlay can be created for a site, this means for 2D content like in Twitter X, or for 3D content for a virtual world. You can take a 3D object and put a link on it, and then you can make a site interoperable with the metaverse. This means that interoperability can be achieved for sites that are also neutral to interoperability. Thank you very much.